The Vedic scriptures describe him as Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. So Lord is full, He is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And you and I are the opposite. Our body is not eternal. Our soul is eternal, but not our body. Krishna is full of knowledge and we are full of ignorance. And Krishna is full of bliss and we are full of anxiety. When you drink your vodka, you may get some bliss, but that is very short term. So, the Lord's body is transcendental, which is being stated over here. Another characteristic of God is, with any one part of His body, He can do the work of any other part. Aṅgāni yasya sakalendriya-vṛtti-manti. With any one part of His body, He can do the work of any other part. This means that He can create just by desire. The Lord says, let there be creation, and the creation takes place. Suppose you and I say, let there be chapatis. Will the chapatis manifest themselves? So, with any one part of His body, He can do the work of any other part. For you and I to eat, we have to put the food in the mouth. But Krishna can eat with His hands. Just like the non-devotees can never understand, what are these Hare Krishnas talking by prasad? What is prasad? We say prasad is food offered to God. We say prasad is food mixed with the saliva of boga. They say, you must be crazy. How can you offer anything to God? Where is that God? We say that God is there in the Archa Vigraha Murti form. They say, Murti? That is just a statue made of marble or metal or wood. You people must be fools. You're brainwashed. How can, even if He is God, tell me, how can God eat? So they are trying to understand God with the material senses. Try to understand God with the material senses, you will never succeed. Once Narada Muni was going back to the spiritual world after doing his preaching job on this planet. So on the way, Narada Muni, he met one Brahmin who was very expert in the scriptures. And the Brahmin told him, please find out from the Lord, how much longer will I have to suffer in the material world? Little later he met a cobbler. Cobbler is one who fixes up shoes. He also said, please find out how much longer will I have to suffer in the material world. So Narada Muni, after giving his report to the Lord, he inquired from the Lord the answers to the questions of the Brahmin and the cobbler. The Lord said, tell the Brahmin he will have to take many, many more births in the material world. And tell the cobbler he will come back to me after this life. So when Narada Muni told the Brahmin that the Lord said he will have to take many, many more births, he said, impossible. I read the Shastras day and night and I will have to take many more births. I don't believe you went to the Lord. So, the Lord has also told Narada Muni that if they ever ask you, what was I doing when you asked me this question? Tell them I was passing an elephant to the eye of a needle. So, just like when somebody comes from your hometown and somebody says, I saw your father in your house, then don't you ask him, what was my father doing, what was my mother doing when you went to see him? So, the Brahmin wanted to know. The Brahmin was doubtful. He did not believe that Narada Muni had gone to the Lord. So he wanted to double check whether Narada Muni was bluffing him or not. So he said, okay, tell me, what was the Lord doing when you were talking to him about me? He said, he was passing an elephant to the eye of a needle. And the Brahmin said, I knew you were bluffing. How can anyone pass an elephant to the eye of a needle? So the Brahmin did not believe that the Lord was passing an elephant to the eye of a needle. So the Brahmin told the Lord, I told you it is not possible. How can you pass an elephant to the eye of a needle? Then the Narada Muni went to the cobbler. So when the cobbler heard that he would go back to Godhead in this life, he was very happy and he jumped up in ecstasy. And when the cobbler heard that the Lord was passing an elephant to the eye of a needle, he was even more happy. So Narada Muni wanted to test the cobbler's faith. He said, you really believe that the Lord anyone can pass an elephant to the eye of a needle? So he said, why not? This huge banyan tree under which we are sitting, this was previously in a small seed. So if the Lord can put a huge banyan tree in a small seed, can He not pass an elephant to the eye of a needle? So I gave you this story to show how one person may think God is limited, but another will understand His unlimited nature. So he can eat with his eyes. When the devotee places prasadam at his feet and says and offers it and says, "My dear Lord, please accept this prasadam," because then when you take the plate out, the plate is exactly the same, and we say, "Oh, this is prasad." So what has happened? The Lord has eaten through his eyes and